Hello everyone, my name is Arya Ajay Kursarkar and I am a legal intern at Lexis & Company. I am also a student of 4th year BA LLB under, under the BA LLB course at GR Kari College of Law, Margao, Goa under the Goa University. Today I am going to be talking on the topic of a constitutional tort under the law of torts, and the purpose of making this video is to spread awareness about the close link up between the law of constitution and law of torts. So, in under the English law, the Crown's Proceeding Act 1947 in England brought the king down from the pedestal of the king can do no wrong to which is an old common law maxim, to striking the development of law of torts and the evolution of constitutional tort. So here now king also could be held liable for a wrongdoing. Under the Indian Constitution, Article 301 lays down that while the Government of India can be sued in the name of Union of India, a state may be sued in the name of the state. In the wide-ranging interactions between the state and the citizens, there might arise legal problems to which solutions may be lying in ascertaining the civil liability of the state. This is an area touched upon by the constitutional tort. So now we'll look at certain cases. In the case of state of Rajasthan versus Vidyavati, Vidyavati's husband had been knocked down by a government jeep car which was negligently driven by the employee of the Rajasthan state government. So here it was a case of vicarious liability. The Supreme Court likened the state's responsibility in this case to the vicarious liability of the employer in any ordinary case and held that the two were no different and that the state of Rajasthan's defense for sovereign immunity was feudalistic in its notion of justice. This observation came from the distinguished and stunted by the decision of Kasturi Lal versus State of UP. In this case, it was held that the police officials seized gold from Kasturi Lal and were negligent in its safekeeping. The Supreme Court, however, held that since the act had the character of sovereign power and was done in the course of the official's employment with the state, the claim could not be sustained. The decision had come under the criticism of various quarters. Now, its decision under Rudal Shah versus State of Bihar, which is also a famous case for habeas corpus, it is highly illuminated in this area. The petitioner Rudal Shah had detained illegally in the prison for more than 14 years, that is till 1982. Although the Court of Sessions in Muzaffarpur had acquitted him in 1968. He filed a habeas corpus petition before the Supreme Court for his immediate release and paid for his rehabilitation cost, medical charges and compensation for illegal retention. After his release, the questions before the court were whether in exercise of jurisdiction under Article 32, the court can pass an order for payment of money. Whether such an order is in the nature of compensation consequential upon the deprivation of his fundamental right. Supreme Court answered this query in affirmative, ordering the state of Bihar to pay the petitioner a sum of Rs 30,000, in addition of the Rs 5,000 already paid by it. The decision was path-breaking in the development of civil liability of the state to compensate its citizens for the violation of their rights when they are responsible for it. Another case was Bhim Singh versus State of Jammu and Kashmir, where the police officers arrested a legislator to the assembly and deprived him his constitutional right to attend the session. The court, which observed that police officers were to be the custodians of law and order and should not become degraders of civil liberties, ordered the payment of Rs 50,000 to Bhim Singh on account of the frustration of his rights. The debate was stretched by the case of Neelabati Behra versus State of Orissa, where the question of the state's liability of compensating the petitioners for the custodian death of her son was cropped up. The court mentioned that the award of compensation in the proceedings under Article 32 or 226, which is Article 32 is constitutional right to the Supreme Court, a writ petition to the Supreme Court, and 226 is a writ petition to the High Court, is a remedy available in public law, and the principle of sovereign immunity does not apply to an action based on tort. In N. Nagendra Rao versus State of Andhra Pradesh, shed more light upon this area and also considered distinction between sovereign and non-sovereign functions. The court held that in a contemporary setup, there does not exist such a distinction and it all depends on the nature of the power and the manner in which it is exercised. So hence, constitution and law of torts have a very close relationship. Please do like, share, subscribe and comment on my video, and do like and subscribe our channel LexClick, and make sure to press the bell icon to get notifications when we post a video. Also, please give me a feedback on this video and previous videos which you can see on this YouTube channel. Also, if you have any queries or questions related to this video or any previous videos, please post it in the comment section below. I will reply to it as soon as possible. Lastly, this video doesn't solicit any type of promotion or advertisement as per the guidelines of Bar Council of India, and the sole purpose of making this video is for educational purposes only. Thank you.